What's up, cool people? I'm Matt Conroy, and got a bit of a confession for you. I would cue the Dave Grohl meme if I had it available. But anyway. So, for me, personally, while I may, in a particular moment, in just a short-term kind of situation, tend to kind of roll with the punches pretty well and be able to keep myself composed and handle things decently. If left under some frustrating or otherwise, not ideal circumstances for a longer time period, I tend to kind of let that frustration get the better of me and sort of define or at least alter how I then react to the short-term situation. So, for some examples, in terms of, when I don't let it affect me, an example I could point to is a few years back, when I was working at the school job still, in residence life and all that, I had a student that I needed to get to the airport. They had a flight to catch for, a trip that they were taking for one of the school breaks. I forget exactly which one, but, we get there and, we've got some time. We're not exactly cutting it real close, but we get up to the counter to get him checked in. And this student's a minor, so he has to have an adult accompanying him. Well, trouble is, the parents of this student didn't pay the fee in advance for what they call an unaccompanied minor. I say an adult had to accompany him. I mean, I just had to go with him to the gate, and then, he would board the flight, and then on the other end, as he landed, I guess somebody on staff would then have to help escort him out to the pickup area. I'm not 100% sure I remember how all that works exactly, but the fact of the matter is, he was a minor going on a flight without an adult on the flight with him who was actually a guardian or parent or something like that. So, anyway, because of that situation, and the fact that his family hadn't paid that fee yet, that had to get handled before he could get past security and go on his flight. So, because of some complications with that, and he, being a minor, didn't have, a whole lot of money on hand that he could access. I mean, I shouldn't say that like it's a given, but it's not surprising, given his age. We'll put it that way. So, he had to make a call to his family to get that taken care of, and then between that and just the way that things were going then, and I think there was also a terminal change that we realized after we got through security. So, long story short, he wound up missing his flight, and we had to improvise something else. Eventually, he wound up calling another relative of his who was in the area, and that relative picked him up, and I guess wound up taking him on a flight the next day. But under that kind of situation, because it was a spur-of-the-moment thing, and I was just reacting to things as they came, yeah, it was a little bit of a frustrating situation, but it wasn't a long-term, barrage of frustrating circumstances leading up to that for me. So I was able to handle it pretty calmly even while the student was like visibly frustrated, near the point of tears, and he was all worried about what was going to happen, what was he supposed to do under the circumstances, and all that. And I handled that pretty calmly, all things considered. But now for an example of when I tend to let the frustration get the better of me, especially due to long-term circumstances, I will just use my current job as an example. I will admit, I think I've gotten a little bit of a short fuse when it comes to certain things with my job now. There are some issues, I'll just say, with the system that we use to, go find the items for people's orders and, collect them, organize them, all that kind of stuff. But especially on the end of finding the items, there's multiple issues that each one on their own wouldn't be so bad, but having multiple of them that have persisted over months at least. I mean, I've only been there for, a few months' time as things stand, at least at this particular store. The compilation or the collection of all of those piled on top of each other and having to deal with that every single day that I go into work and finding that they haven't been changed, that nothing has been fixed. Maybe not nothing, but very little has been fixed in regard to these matters. And it seems like as soon as one problem gets fixed, another one appears. So it's, the combination of those factors, plus the amount of time that I've had to deal with those complicating factors, makes it so I get a bit frustrated pretty quickly whenever I have to deal with a few instances of this on a given day. And at that point, I kind of stop caring about doing things the best way, or maybe I should say the preferred way. Because, the preferred way would be I put in my best effort to go and find the item in question, whatever the circumstances happen to be. If I've had to deal with, a handful of those instances within a given day, I've probably gotten to the point of being frustrated enough with it that I just decide, I think I know better than what it's telling me. I think this might be at another location. But I just kind of say, no, it's not here at this one anyway. Which, the fact that even matters, showing that, or, finding it the first time that it tells me, even if the system knows it's at another location, is something I won't really get into, but they keep track of that. And so, but sometimes if I've had to deal with multiple instances of this, I'm not on my A game, so to speak. I'm not necessarily checking the nearby, sections of shelves or the ends of the aisles or whatever every time, because I've gotten a little frustrated with it and I just want to move on with my life. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. This thing says there's another location for it, so I'm just going to say it's not here. And whatever other location it leads me to, I'll deal with the matter then. And sometimes the system doesn't even have every location of an item, registered in its, inventory or whatever you'd call that. So occasionally that attitude can lead to things being missed. But again, because of the frustration of the situation and the fact that it's been ongoing for a pretty good amount of time, really enough time that it probably should have been fixed, I get frustrated with it, and I'm not on my A game, and I miss things because of that. Whereas, earlier on in the day, I might handle it a little better. I might check the end caps and maybe a couple of sections nearby or different things like that. Or not, if I'm not in a great mood already. But, the point being, I think, sometimes taking a much broader view than just me and my own circumstances, or maybe using myself as an example, because I'm pretty sure I'm not alone in this, way of doing things, in this general mindset that I get into sometimes. I think even in, broader life situations, sometimes, similarly to what I've described, we might be able to sort of roll with the punches. If it's a short-term complication, we just kind of say, all right, it is what it is. I'll deal with it the best that I can and, adjust how we see fit. But if it's something that we've had to deal with over a longer time span, that can, bring about extra frustration. It could even sort of, trigger a particular, almost programmed at this point, response within us, and then we don't necessarily respond the best way to the immediate circumstances of the situation, whatever it is. So I guess I'm realizing this in myself, and I'm hoping that maybe I'll be able to do better with this in the future, but also realizing I'm a flawed human being prone to patterns of thought and action, and realizing I'm not going to change this overnight by any stretch. But my encouragement in realizing this and thinking and talking through it is that I'm hoping maybe some other people will be able to realize, that they do this as well, that they'll be able to find this pattern in themselves. And, the first step to changing things is realizing that a change is needed. First step in solving a problem is admitting that there's one to begin with. So, this is my admission of a problem that I have. Maybe some other people will realize because of this that they also have this problem, and maybe, together or even through our own separate efforts, we can try and do better at these things in the future. Anyway, sorry if that was a really long-winded way of saying all that. Really, all I needed to say was in the past, 2 minutes there. But I just, I wanted to give examples of what I was talking about to make sure that it's pretty clear what I meant. So, anyway, yeah. I guess that's all I've really got for now. So, as always, like the video if you enjoyed it. Share it with others if you want them to see it. Especially since this, I'm hoping, will be more of a helpful video for some people to see and, think about. I would definitely appreciate it all the more if, you like it, if you think it's good, and share it with others so that they can see it and maybe benefit from it. I realize I don't put up a whole lot of flashy images and, feed the lizard brain short attention span kind of thing very well. But, I try to make sure that, especially with a video more like this, that doesn't have a lot going on, that I'm making a decent point with whatever it is that I'm saying. So anyway, feedback appreciated, I guess, is the short version of that. And of course, if you want to see more stuff like this in the future, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell to get updates when I post new videos. That way you won't miss anything like this or any of my other videos that I happen to post. And of course, look down in the description for info on other social media pages. I'll generally post there. Some of my stuff that I post here, Facebook and Twitter especially, they'll get pretty much every video that I put up here, other than maybe the shorts for Twitter. But, yeah. social media info down in the description below. And of course, leave comments down below all that with any thoughts that you have related to this topic, other ideas you might want me to talk about, other types of videos you might want me to do, whatever you have for me. Let me know down below. So that's it. Hope you're all doing well. Hopefully I'll see you for the next video. But until then, stay cool, people.